Welcome back to DCU Daily. And today I'm talking to you guys about how Aquaman made $1 billion at the box office. I mean, it's kind of amazing to think that, a DC movie. I mean, look, I personally am a DC fan, but I'm also, a fan of the superhero genre. So I appreciate everything that they're doing over at Marvel. But when you look at Marvel, they've got like a dozen or so $1 billion movies on their record. So it's amazing to see that in the last 5 years, Aquaman managed to make $1 billion, whereas since 2018, no other DC movie has crossed even $500 million. So the question becomes, well, how did Aquaman do it? What did they do for that movie? What did they get right? What did Peter Safran, who's one of the new leads of the new DCU, who produced the Aquaman movie, what did they get right over there? What did James Wan, what did Jason Momoa, what did they get right with that movie? And how can they replicate that? Maybe we'll gain some insight into how they can repeat that success by talking about how Aquaman made so much money at the box office and why it made so much money at the box office. So the first point I'm going to make, in regards to that, is that they had a perfect release strategy. They put that movie on Christmas week, December 21st is when it came out, a few days before Christmas. So it had that whole audience, everybody, all the families going out to the movies around Christmas time. They had that audience, basically there waiting for some big franchise movie. There was no Star Wars movie coming out in December 2018. There was no Avatar coming out December 2018. You had Bumblebee. You still had the Fantastic Beasts. I think it was The Crimes of Grindelwald that was still in theaters at the time from November. I think there was a Grinch movie that had come out that November that was still playing. You had the Clint Eastwood The Mule, which didn't really do all that well. They had Ralph Breaks the Internet still playing. Mary Poppins Returns, which flopped. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which was great movie, but it wasn't a big box office presence. It made like 300 some odd million dollars. They had Bohemian Rhapsody still around, which was a huge awards darling, but really ultimately they didn't have any movie on the calendar that was quite what Aquaman was, so they knew that if they released it in December, the date, they got that right. The release strategy was perfect. Christmas season, there's always plenty of money to go around at the box office because so many people are going to see the movies. Outside of the summer season when people are going to see the movies all the time because everybody's off from school, people don't have as intensive a job schedule, or there's families are going to movie theaters more often during the week as well as on the weekends. Christmas season is that other time of the year where you have that level of box office potential. And the fact that they held on to that date in December, which has been dominated by Disney-owned franchises of late, Star Wars, Marvel, Avatar. In 2018, Warner Brothers Discovery, or at the time just Warner Brothers and DC, they had that date, December 21st. And so not only did they get that opening weekend right, but then look, any movie that hits big around that time usually has the runway in January and February, which are really dry spells for the box office because not a lot of big movies come out in those months. You have all that runway to make all that money. That's how Avatar in 2009 made all its money. It was number one at the box office for like 8 weeks in a row. That's how Avatar: The Way of Water made so much of its money. It was number one at the box office for like a month or a month and a half. That's how Aquaman made its money. It dominated the box office. I don't know how many weeks it was number one. I forget that, but definitely multiple weeks. It wasn't like it was number one for 1 week and then it fell off. There wasn't a lot of competition coming out. It was the last big hit release of the year, and it was coming out at a time when a lot of other franchise movies weren't really doing all that well. Some of these smaller movies, like even Creed 2, which had come out, I think, November 21st. Even Creed 2 wasn't really as competitive. I mean, those movies don't make a ton of money even when they're doing well. And Creed 2, I think, is probably the best of the three films, my opinion. You guys can believe otherwise. But yeah, the release strategy was perfect. And they gave that movie as the best potential run that it could have had at the box office to make its money. And that's something I think they have not done for a lot of the recent movies over at DC. Releasing Shazam 2 when they did in the winter months earlier this year, I think it was February or something. Bad idea. It flopped. The Flash was probably not the movie to release in the summer months, given all this controversy. They should have probably done Aquaman in the summer and then Flash in December. But I get, like, given how the first Aquaman did in December, I understand the second one coming out in December makes sense. And Black Adam, Look, that movie came out last year, probably a month, 2 months too late. That should have come out in like peak July, August movie season, not like September, October, when you're getting into the awards season, when you have all those awards darlings coming out like Dune and such. And because then basically people look at all those other offerings, and then by comparison, something like a Black Adam looks worse because it's not as good of a movie. And look, Aquaman is by no means like the best movie ever. It's not. I don't even think it's per my personal opinion the top five DC movies of all time. It maybe cracks the top 10. I mean, as far as the DCEU goes, in my personal top five, I don't count Aquaman. I think it's just outside the top five. And for a lot of people, they would say, look, it was so much fun at the movie theaters. It's not necessarily the movie that they will put at the top of their list. A lot of people will probably say Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was better in terms of movies that were playing in December 2018. But ultimately, the rights release strategy is something that matters a lot. And Aquaman is a really, really great demonstration of why it matters when you release your movie. And studios spent a lot of money researching this stuff and getting it right. And they got it right at Warner Brothers for Aquaman in 2018. Now, the second reason why I think this movie did so well and made so much money, the reason why it had the staying power at the box office was because it was good fun for the whole family. It was a four-quadrant movie. I'm not saying like a whole family as in, a family of parents, kids, teenagers, and everybody and grandparents. No, I'm just saying, regardless of who you are, whether you are somebody who is a teenager just off from high school for Christmas vacation, going to see this movie, if you are just, a young couple who have the weekend, the extra days off for the holiday season, you want to go see a movie for date night, or if you are going to take your kids to the movies during the week, during the weeknight, or if you're going as a large group, this was a movie that appealed to everybody. It was also a movie that was just a sprawling adventure, and that's my third reason why. I mean, look, this movie, more so than most other DC movies recently, was truly an escapist, sprawling, global adventure. Like, it felt like you weren't going on this fun adventure, just putting your day-to-day life aside for a moment to enjoy Aquaman, go find the trident and become the king of Atlantis. It was very colorful. I mean, the color palette was good. The cinematography was amazing. I really love the cinematography in this movie, the visual effects, all the cool water shots. I love that too. Willem Dafoe, you have Dolph Lundgren in it. You have such a big cast, and not just a big cast, you have such a talented cast. And I think the movie just hit on all fronts. Nicole Kidman, I sincerely hope she comes back in the second movie too. Amber Heard, I liked Amber Heard's portrayal of Mera, so hopefully we'll see her again, and I think we will. She is in Aquaman too. Yeah, I mean, it was the kind of movie that a lot of people would otherwise go see in the summer, but they were getting it in December, and it's the kind of movie that you can go and watch multiple times and not feel bogged down by it. It wasn't, a heavy story where there was a lot of emotion and drama. Yeah, there was emotion and drama. I mean, every movie needs that, but it was the summer blockbuster kind of emotion and drama. So I really think these are all the reasons why. I mean, having the perfect release strategy, being fun for the whole family, and then also just being a global, escapist, sprawling adventure. I mean, what more can you ask for? DC got it right with that movie. I hope they get it right with more movies in the future. I think Blue Beetle looks like that. Maybe Aquaman 2 will be similar. But you tell me, what do you guys think? Do you agree with the reasons why I just described how Aquaman made $1 billion? Do you think there's other reasons? Do you think they got lucky? Do you think they can repeat that success? Tell me in the comments below. And of course, like and subscribe. Come back here Monday to Friday daily. We do this all the time, once a day. New DC news, reacting to the trailers, reviewing the movies, previewing movies, analyzing the latest news stories. What's going on in the world of the DCU? Come back here and check it out. Come talk to me. I'll talk back, and we will have a conversation, guys. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you next time.